Hi, welcome to the floor of my treatment room. I'm here with a tennis ball because I've got a bit of a headache. So I'm putting the tennis ball in my hand, one hand under the other, and then I'm going to rest my head down on my hands and let the tennis ball rest against the back of my skull, which feels absolutely delicious. I can feel it emanating all the way down to my feet. So those of you that know your anatomy, we're on the occipital bone, and I'm not sort of under the occiput. I'm on the flat of it at the moment, and that feels plenty. And as I just move my head a little bit, I can fine tune. Such a relief. I can fine tune the contact between my head and the tennis ball, so it gives the right amount of pressure in the right place. So I can feel this. Partly it's sort of heading down to my feet, just in a sort of wave of just relief. It really is the only word I can give for it. It's also the sensation of it, which is quite acute. Just moving my hands a little bit to find a new place. Then the more physical sensation of it is staying. It's there at the point of contact between the ball and my skull, and it's kind of travelling up into the forehead, which again makes sense anatomically. Those of you that know the muscles there, we've got the muscle that we call occipitofrontalis, or I'm pressing into the occipito part of it, so occipitalis, I guess that's the name of the muscle. But the muscle at the back here, there's a bit of squidge, and then there's the flat tendon, the aponeurosis going over the head, and then the frontalis muscle across the forehead, which I'm really doing my best not to scrunch up, not to frown with the sort of the discomfort. I'm trying to keep it quite open across the forehead, so it's trying to sort of relax the frontalis part. So it makes sense that pressure at the back here can translate to other parts of the head, particularly the forehead, because there is this direct link between the muscle in the forehead and the muscle at the back of the skull. So it kind of makes a lot of sense, and it just feels nice. So now I'm still on the back rather than underneath the occipital bone, but I'm closer around behind the ear now. I don't know how much of that you can see on the video. I'm trying to have a little look. Can't really see much, can you? Sorry about that. I don't know how to angle the... Let me just try angle the camera down. That doesn't need a blind bit. Anyhow, what you even if you can't see much, what you're probably getting is a sense of time. So I've been here probably a couple of minutes already, and that's nice. Little movements. I'm behind the ear now. If I lift up, you can see that's where I've got it there, behind the ear, hand underneath to support, and then on the floor. It's quite intense. So nice. So this is just one of my favourite self-care tools. I guess the tennis ball's a tool, a facilitator of self-care. It's a lovely gadget can a ball be a gadget, to use here, because it's got a firmness to it, but it's also got a softness. There's a bit of give, so it will yield a little bit to the shape of the bones, to the shape of the head. So it's, for me, it's a nicer contact than, say, something harder like a golf ball or even a rounders ball, cricket ball. They haven't got so much yielding, so they can be a little bit brutal. I find a tennis ball is usually plenty, and then having it in my hands here means I've got a bit of control over it, and it raises it up a little bit as well, rather than just have it directly on the floor. It means I can angle it into the parts of the skull that seem to want it. So the way I'm gauging it is, if it feels good, I'm doing it. If it doesn't feel good, I'm not doing it. And when I say it doesn't feel good, it might be that there's just no sensation. It just feels like it's a ball resting against my head, and why? Like it's not doing anything. So then I wouldn't bother with that, because I haven't got all day just to lay here. I'm in between clients at the moment. So I want to be quite sort of productive, efficient, if you like. So I want a sensation, but equally I don't want it to be too strong. If I'm having to like brace myself, like, if it's too intense, I tend to think that's counterproductive, because I'll end up just bringing in tension to my body somewhere else while I'm actually trying to relieve it. So I want a contact that makes a pleasurable sensation. People talk about grateful pain or exquisite pain, and this really is one of those times for me where it's softening such a lot, it's changing. It's harder to find the real hot spots, the real hubs of that really exquisite pain. There's a bit. It's coming a bit more just sort of everyday now, a bit more ordinary, I mean, by everyday. So now, just sort of, there's a bit just there, which is, it's not as intense as it was a few moments ago, but it's still got quite a potency to it, still got quite a kick. So what I want to do with that then is just breathe, especially out, and rest. You won't be able to see from this angle, but I'm led on my back, obviously, and I've got my knees bent up, so my feet are on the floor and my knees are up, and that's giving a bit of softness to the back. It's giving my back, it's taking the curves out of the lower back, so I've got flat contact with the floor, which feels nice, and it's also just softening my belly a little bit. It's bringing a little bit of sort of almost slack into the front of the abdomen, so it's not so tight down the front. That feels nice too. It's just relaxing. When I've got a headache, what I want to try and do is just let my body relax, let my head relax, my face. My tendency with a headache is to tense around my eyes and my forehead, and even around my shoulders. I can feel them rising, like I'm trying to get away from the pain, or even though I seem to be moving into it more. So what I'm aiming to do here is offer my body a chance to rest, to relax, to be comfortable on the floor. So I'm working quite a lot here on the left. Is it the left? Yeah, the left side of my head. Partly because I'm turning toward the camera, but it's very nice in there. Getting easier all the time. I'm tempted to... I could be here all day. So, getting a few gurgles coming out my belly. I don't know if you can hear those, but not at all unusual to get some gurgles coming with the relaxation response. Possibly here at the back, when I tip just a little bit under the occiput, there's potential here to be triggering the vagus nerve. It's sort of got a spot around the mastoid process, I believe, sort of behind the ear, is a place where these people that know these things tell us you can trigger the vagus nerve, and triggering the vagus nerve is all about triggering the relaxation response through the body, so moving us away from the fight, flight, freeze response of the sympathetic nervous system and into the rest and digest, or the what's the other one Tara Brach talks about? Is it attend and befriend? Other people have different names for it, but basically the mode of operating in the brain where we've switched on healing and we've switched off get ready to run, get ready to fight, get ready to hide away from danger. This is all about, let's activate the digestive system, hence the gurgling. Let's activate the healing systems of the body, the immune system, etc. So it's the vagus nerve is a powerful powerful facilitator of relaxation. And the out breath is really important for that. Extending the out breath, doing a sort of a mindful, aware out breath and letting the out breath get longer than usual can also, so we're told, activate's a nicer word than trigger, isn't it? Activate the parasympathetic nervous system via the vagus nerve. Also abdominal massage or gentle abdominal touch, circling the abdomen. That can also activate or stimulate the vagus nerve and hence the relaxation response. So it's nice to have this. I'm turning away from you, not to be rude, but to get to the other parts. I'm going to swap my hands over, I think. So my right hand is on top now, on the right side. That seems to give it a bit more oomph. Yeah, there's a few tight bits this side, but I think the left seemed to have more. Face, Sarah, soften. Such a tendency to scrunch my forehead. I don't think I even knew I did it so much. Oh, there's another good bit now. So partly, maybe with the video as well, this is a great distraction from a headache. So it's almost like I've forgotten I had one, so it's gone. But I think actually this way of connecting with the tension here at the back and giving it a chance to release through the pressure from the ball is an effective way of engaging with a headache. I've got a lovely NLP technique, so a verbal, if you're not into this rolling around on the floor business, I've got another technique for helping to relieve headaches, which is through words, the power of the mind, listening, the power of suggestion, and the creativity of the mind to make powerful changes. So I will make another little video about that shortly. And maybe I'll create a little collection of handy headache helpers, or some other delightfully catchy title. Definitely feeling better here. I think the proof of the pudding will be in the standing up, and I've got to say I'm in no hurry to stand up. I love lying down. Yeah, still some quite yummy, but just over my eyes, just to notice what difference that makes. Weirdly, it's helping me focus. odd. Sometimes eyes open, sometimes eyes closed. Seems to work better. Breathe. Isn't it easy to forget? To forget to breathe, to forget to soften. In Tai Chi, when we do standing meditation in class, we're encouraged to do 2 minutes of a particular type of breathing, reverse breathing, at the start of that standing meditation, and then again at the end. And the speed of the breath, we're encouraged to do, if we do 8 breaths at the right timing, that will last about 2 minutes. So it's about 15 seconds per breath cycle, so roughly 7 to 8 seconds breathing in and 7 to 8 seconds breathing out. So there's plenty to think about in that breath. And how many times have I managed to do 8 in a row without getting distracted? Yeah, about that many. It has happened, but it's rare. Usually I've done 1 or 2 and my brain has already zipped off somewhere else, and then I realise at some point and come back. It's incredible. Incredible. Little repositionings. And I think the key with this is to not necessarily feel that you need to kind of neutralise each of the tender spots. Engaging with them, giving them a bit of time, is often all that's needed. And just finding the places. Stillness, if that helps. Gentle movement, if that helps. The thing with the movement is, if you're moving your head like I'm doing now, that's actually activating muscles at the back of the neck. So then it's harder for them to relax when they're working. But to move into a new position and then to rest is probably a really good way to do it. The other place that it's really nice to have the tennis ball is between the shoulder blades and the spine, between the shoulder blade and the spine, one side then the other. So I'm going to move to that. I'm going to stay here, it's too nice. Oh, go on then. Go on then. So here's the ball going under the shoulder, and then this is different now because my head, you can see it's dropped back onto the ground, my hands are up, and that ball then now is between the, you can't see it talking, it's between the floor and me, and it's positioned between the spine and the shoulder blade. Let me try it. This is probably why somebody invented a tripod. I've got the iPad sat on top of a squashy little box that's got candles in it. Oh, let's try the other way. Let's move myself out of the way. Oh, sorry, you're almost a genius. You're almost a genius. Oh my God, that's intense. So I've put my hand under my head just to soften the sensation a little bit. My head's not tipping back so far. Oh, crikey. It's intense sensation there. Let's take a minute. Again, I feel my calves relaxing and my feet. And then as I move this arm, it's like a whole world of that dance between pleasure and pain. that sense, when my arm's out like that, blocking my face from the camera, the sensation is travelling up through here, all the way up. So you'll notice, it really changes. And again, you can find what's comfortable, do what feels good, don't do what doesn't feel good. Err on the side of caution, err on the side of less is more. You can always do it again later if you feel like you want more, but it's hard to undo it if you've overdone it. So I'm going to bring this to a close because I'm aware I've been here a bit. I don't know how long I've been on the floor. I'm going to find out when I press stop. But place your bets. What was it, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? I know time flies when I start talking. Right, I'm stopping, but I might do a bit more later. So I hope that's been helpful to you as well as to me. Let me know. All right.